Oh my goodness. What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I just love looking at movie reviews because most of them have nothing to do with the movie at all. Now, admittedly and up front, I am a huge Rambo fan. Yes, I know that it's not a deeply philosophical film franchise with deep thoughts on modern society. I know. That's why I like it. I like to go into the movie theater and just relax. I can get all the Orange Man bad I could ever want on Twitter or on YouTube or on Facebook or whatever. That's the target demographic for Rambo. I have a even more special spot in my heart because it's kind of the first movie I ever really remember watching with my dad. I think it was those and then like early Seagal movies. And obviously Chuck Norris Missing in Action series. These are the first movies I really remember from my childhood. And I've always had a soft spot for Stallone, even the Rocky movies. And look, unpopular opinion, I thought Rambo 4 was probably the second best Rambo. Even though, I don't know, the fan reviews weren't exactly the same, but that's the beauty of it. That's in general why I don't like reviewing movies or reviewing video games, because I understand that people have different perspectives and that they're not going to like certain things about a movie that I will. And so Peter Bradshaw has a perspective. I strongly disagree with it. Hey, just a really quick word from this video sponsor, and it'll probably be the easiest ad read I've ever done, because ever since I saw my friend Count Dankula had a Ridge wallet when we were speaking at a conference together, I wanted to get one. So I was able to get a Ridge wallet carbon fiber edition. And just to give you an example of all the junk that I thought I needed to keep in my wallet that I just didn't need, that's what you get when you use a Ridge wallet. This is the carbon fiber edition. It comes in a really nice box. It comes with a screwdriver to adjust everything. I've hid everything I need in here. My driver's license, my credit cards, my IDs, all the various cards, insurance cards, things like that. There's a strap here for cash. And I'll tell you, it took maybe a day or two to kind of get used to, but I'm absolutely loving how this kind of forces me to minimize what I carry. And the thing just looks awesome too. So I brought them on as a sponsor. And if you use promo code QUARTERING, you'll save 10% off your order. And I definitely highly recommend this product. It's not that often that I get to do an ad for something I actually use and love, and this is one of those cases. So check out Ridge Wallet, use promo code QUARTERING to save 10%, and I guarantee you'll love it once you get used to just not having to lean to the side with a gigantic wallet in your back pocket. They have lots of different ones to choose. This is just the one that I got. Now let's get into this video. I'm going to laugh at it. Rambo, The Last Blood review. Stallone storms Mexico in laughable Drumfian fantasy. What? The headline alone tells you that this young, I don't know, geriatric man has no idea about Rambo. Never watched it, never a fan of it. Just like IGN's review and many of the woke film reviewers on Rotten Tomatoes seem to have no concept whatsoever about who Rambo is and what the film is about. They even go as far as to claim they know what it's about when anyone who's actually seen some of these films knows otherwise. This massively enlarged prostate of a film, by the way, this guy gave it a 1 star, can only make you wince with badly acted Drumfian fantasies, blah, 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 blah. 73-year-old Stallone on behalf of a sweet teenager. The film, co-written by Stallone, imagines the demure young woman having her face cut up by an assailant, but is left in a field clear for a stag payback showdown. There's no question of her taking her own retributive action. Stallone's own impassive face, now a sculpture created by Picasso out of Firestone tire, presides enigmatically over the proceedings of the incident line readings, which would not get him very far in rep. His announcement of, "I want you to feel my rage and my hate," and things like that. In the likable Creed movies, Stallone had found a way for his legendary boxing champ Rocky Balboa to bow out with humor and humility as a trainer. But there's no such style in the Rambo film, the fifth in franchise, which, despite its name, may not be the last. Over the final credits, there is some stuff I'm not going to read because it may be a spoiler. Nowadays, Rambo is living in an Arizona farmstead in retirement, breeding horses. Okay. So just like in Balboa, he's moved on. He also weirdly maintains an underground network of survivalist tunnels. Why wouldn't he? If you understood anything about Rambo, the man is who he is. In nearly every Rambo film, he's quote-unquote moved on, but then they pull him back in to do what he does best. This is who the man is. The result is cringe-makingly written, clunkily directed, and even the final action sequence runs out of steam after a minute or so. Of course, other dramas are arguably vulnerable to the charge of demonizing Mexico, such as the Sicario movies, which, by the way, are awesome, and Nicholas Winding Refn's TV series, but they're thrillers composed with satirical brilliance and icy power. It's the last streak of flabby, sentimental self-importance that makes Rambo Last Blood unwatchable. More Balboa, less Rambo. See, the thing is, you're asking for the film to be something it's not. It would be to say that you want Balboa to not be about boxing. Because this is what Rambo is. This is what Rambo's fans want. And admittedly, Rambo 4 did not do that well in the box office. I actually looked up, it had a budget somewhere around $50 million, and that's about all it brought in. But curiously, as expected, fans liked the movie just fine. Critics gave it a 38%. Fans gave it a 70%, 69%, a 400,000 reviews. All right, and I predict it'll be exactly the same this time around as we look at Last Blood early reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, 40%. Now, my guess is this movie will land somewhere in the high 60s to mid 75s. Now, maybe it is bad. I mean, if I look back at Rambo 3, it was laughably over the top at times, but it's a good popcorn film. There's lots of films like that out there that just aren't for everyone. And what I don't understand is how film reviewers can't, I don't know, set aside their own bias ever. Look, if you're not an action film fan, I don't necessarily care that much about your review, if that makes sense. Like, if I had to review Toy Story, and I know some of you like Toy Story, but I just never got into it. Friend of mine wanted to see it, the fourth one or something this summer. I haven't even seen them all. My review would be something like, if you like hearing crying babies in the movie theater and paying $15 to hear it, go see this movie. I mean, I just wouldn't review that movie because I know going into it, it's not for me. But you just see, look at these reviews. Horrible, gut-wrenching carnage to witness, and yet it's been calibrated to elicit whoops and cheers from the fans. So these people are probably the exact same people that always seem to give horror films bad scores. I mean, I don't know. Don't remember him this way. A film that aspires to be Logan yet lands somewhere near Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you come for thoughtfulness, tragedy, character, wit, and a political statement on the effects of behavior we don't like, in short, you've come for anything that was in the original First Blood. Then perhaps you'd find solace in a different theater. Why would I want a movie that makes a political statement? Rambo fans don't want that. It doesn't just feel dated and quite tone deaf, but it's also stuck in an era that's long gone with no need for nostalgia to remind us of it. Says a guy that probably gets his lattes with additional soy milk added. Says a guy that probably never liked Rambo films. And we have Drumpf-era Rambo is essentially a human border wall keeping America safe from bad people. absolutely deranged. A must-see. What? I mean, I guess I like that. I don't know. I'm not saying you have to love the film, but a lot of these critics are pretty clearly allowing certain personal opinions of TDS roll in and let it affect the movie. Like, look, Jonathan Roberts from Singapore. The pace is unbalanced. It feels tired, tacked on, and rushed without stakes. Fine. That's okay. That's a fine review. But the idea that, it's less a true Rambo movie and more of a generic small-scale Taken knockoff with John Rambo arbitrarily thrown into the mix from internet troll Scott Mendelson. Now, I saved probably the best review for last, IGN. And just to give you an example, look at their, they do a video for everything they write, which is just basically somebody narrating their review. 1K upvotes, 3K downvotes. Over the top and ultra violent. Sounds like the perfect Rambo movie. 4.5 out of 10 from IGN. Must watch. Stop talking about politics and review the actual movie properly. Don't worry, IGN. They'll reboot and have Rambo. Well, I'll skip that one. Guessing you guys haven't seen previous Rambo movies. Lol, because no one ever gets human trafficked in Mexico. Not like tourists regularly getting kidnapped. No, none of this stuff ever happens. So basically the criticism is that it's a Rambo movie. I wasn't planning on seeing this movie until I saw the review. Now I can't wait to see it in theaters. Rambo, The Last Blood review. Sylvester Stallone's action sequel is gory, offensive, and shallow. The arc of John Rambo first began in 1982 with Ted Kotcheff's broody action film First Blood, which had an unusual one to say the least. Rambo, sensitively portrayed by Sylvester Stallone, was initially presented as an emotionally wounded ex-soldier who had been deeply stained and hollowed out by the things experienced. Right. When Rambo first whipped out his hunting knife and began eviscerating small-town sheriffs, it was meant to be seen as a final tragic crack in a soul of a broken man. Maybe. Audiences, however, and perhaps bafflingly latched onto the film's exhilarating actions and to Rambo's soldierly efficiency with more than the tragedy, leading to First Blood's subsequent sequels to transform this into a tragedy-free, unstoppable, all-American badass. Great. What's wrong with that? A character who is originally meant to stand as a symbol for the damage that can be done can do to a soldier is now best remembered as an unlikable human. I don't know. I think Rambo's likable. I think he's likable. I'm excited to see this film. Well, I'm going to take my dad to see it now. Maybe we'll go twice. The level of gore in this film is absurdly intense. I noticed in the last one, they definitely did kind of ramp it up a little bit. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of that. I like it to a point of realism, but when it gets to like cartoon levels, I'm not a huge fan of that. I didn't see it as a negative in the last Rambo, but I'll take this. More of the same than the pussification of most modern day heroes or reboots, to be honest with you. I'm hoping people will support this film, but we'll see. But here's where it gets amazing. I mean, I'm promising you it will get so good. These are the people that Rambo is deleting. The impetus for the film action comes from the plot that closely resembles Taken in both setup. It's an older dad, action fantasy, and it's cultural insensitivity. Okay. First of all, again, why would you have this moron review this movie? If you're going to review a movie, maybe understand the premise of the movie. I suppose it's less important in a one-off type film. But this is Rambo. He's an established character. He's who he is, and that's what people want. People don't want to come and watch Rambo playing chess and talk about his preferred pronouns. They want to see him kick ass. Taken, both setup, older action dad. Okay, yeah, exactly the target demo, by the way. When the monorail character goes to Mexico to find her estranged father, she's almost instantly taken and sold by two cartoonishly evil crime lords. Okay, so, again, I fail to see the problem with this. Are you complaining that the villains aren't deep and given more screen time? It's called Rambo. And in fact, all the villains in all Rambo movies were basically just bullet sponges anyway. I mean, the idea that you've ever even seen a Rambo movie is unfathomable if this is your critiques. It's then up to Rambo to rescue her. Yes, literally every film. The filmmakers also have made Mexico seem like an infinite wasteland of crime. And I'm not saying Latinx. I'm not using this word. Most of the characters from Mexico on screen are criminals and broad stereotypes. Again, you've never seen a Rambo film before. And oh, by the way, sorry to inject a little reality, but let's see. Deletion rate in Mexico soars to new record. By the way, that's August 1st, 2019. This isn't some dated thing. Deletions in Mexico surged to record in the first half of 2019. Deletion rate in Mexico reaches all-time high. Now, obviously, it's not reasonable to say that. Somebody pointed out on Twitter, you know, Mexico is a big place. And just like the United States, not every city in the United States is like downtown Chicago. Okay, I get that. But to proclaim that this is just absurd and not coming from anywhere is provably false. I understand that Rambo films have rarely been bastions of cultural togetherness, but in 2019, these broad stereotypes are offensive and dated and downright irresponsible. Do you get it? Do you get it? I don't think you understand. Rambo series continues its track of ultra awesome, shallow characterization and irresponsible politics in Rambo Last Blood, a film with more gore than a horror film and some legit action to that. All too unfortunately plays like the dark fantasies of an angry teen. 4.5. Well, here's the thing. A Rambo movie is never going to change the world. I don't think that's what its intent ever was. If you understand how the original Rambo film even came together, I think the movie was something like 3 hours long originally. And if you know the story, it's curious nobody really understands the nexus of the Rambo character. The movie was almost 3 hours long, I think. And they sold the film. Stallone thought it was so bad that they tried to buy it back. That's the true story. The original Rambo film in its original form was so bad that Sylvester Stallone tried to buy it back. They instead compromised in basically cutting out all of his dialogue, trimmed the movie down to like 2 hours, and it became the film it is today. For me, Rambo First Blood is nowhere near as memorable as the second one, probably because I think I saw the second one first, and that thing is just an action-packed ride the entire way through. There's some up and downs in the films, but Rambo is who he is. And in a world where everybody's demanding everything changes, sometimes it's not bad to just get some more Rambo, to know what you get. I mean, there's a reason McDonald's is the most popular restaurant in the world. There's a reason McDonald's goes well internationally, because when people travel, they know exactly what they're going to get. When I go to a different state, I'll say, man, I don't really want to eat anything. There's a McDonald's here. I know a quarter pounder is a quarter pounder. You know what I mean? So Rambo is who he is. Not every character has to change over time. Sometimes you can just be awesome. For all the memes about Fast and Furious films, they continue to just rake in hundreds of millions of dollars every year with essentially the same film over and over again. This movie looks like a Rambo film, which is exactly what I want. I'll be taking my dad to see it, and I hope that you enjoy it if you go too. Hope you enjoyed this video, though, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Above, you'll find some links to watch more videos, as well as a nice big button to subscribe, which I hope you'll do. If you did enjoy it, make sure before you go that you leave a like and a comment on the video, because you are the #1 reason this channel continues to grow, and I appreciate you.